right. Oh, let the layout figure out what it's doing. All right, we're here. Hello. Welcome to what I believe is episode 111 of this thing
Ooh.
I do a lot. We know the drill by now, right? Surely. Unfortunately, my throat is not my friend today, so I'm gonna let the guest do most of the talking today. Although I don't know if that's abnormal. Anyway, speaking of guest, hello, welcome.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Uh, so who are you? Let us know.
Well, I'm Gruntiatus. It's pronounced about 400 different ways on Twitch, but that's the way I like it. It's been said Gruntatious, Gruntious, all kinds of ways, so there's no wrong way of pronouncing it. But yeah, I don't really do much on YouTube yet, but since Twitch is forcing us to all get our videos or lose our videos, I actually have a collection going now. So who knows? Maybe I'll release a few more videos this year or something, see how it goes. But other than that, pretty casual gamer these days. I I went all in on Punch Out early on when I first started, and I probably should have picked a few games to speedrun. So I kind of go in burnout, and then I just fully commit to a game, burnout, fully commit. So just enjoying some Elden Ring right now. So that's about it lately.
There you go. Well, I like Punch Out, so good choice. I see Tyson
Yeah,
peeking out, so
yeah, he's
yeah,
always with me.
yeah. Can never get too far away.
Yeah. Punch Out runners are always trying to get me to come back. It's a tournament.
Ooh, is there? I haven't heard.
Like who are
Interesting.
some of the newer runners with Punch Out? Or
Oh, I thought you said there was a tournament coming up.
they're throwing around the idea.
Oh,
They
I see.
usually try
Okay.
for like summertime stuff like that, but
Just,
for a little while
just,
there weren't
just a
too many.
rumor at the moment. I see. I see.
Yeah, right now it's nothing official, but it'd be
Well,
nice to see. I'd probably be
yes.
more of an announcer than a runner.
It's been a while since I've seen a tournament, so I would be very interested to at least watch. I am not good at the game myself, other than I can knock Tyson down in under 230. So, that's not bad.
That's actually really good. Yeah.
Uh,
A first round
Thanks,
Tyson
man.
is not an easy thing to do, so
Yes, I have quite a few now, luckily. I'm not good at anything else other than like three task ties, obviously, or yeah, I think three. Two of them are obviously very free. One of them slightly less free, but
yeah,
all the other types I
what's your
don't know.
third? I can guess the first two, but
Yes.
what's number three?
What would you think it is? I'm curious.
Hmm. Let's see. I either gotta think King Hippo or Great Tiger.
Yeah.
I'll go with Hippo.
Oh, you see, Hippo has RNG. I'd only do the stuff that doesn't. So
Okay, yeah. Super Mario Brothers, that's right. Yeah,
yeah, you see.
you like it locked in and
Yes,
attack the tasks. Yeah,
I am one decimal away from King Hippo tasks, but RNG is not my friend whenever I try to save that increment. So
yeah,
as I'm sure you're aware. So well,
yeah.
speaking of,
That one took me a little while to get that task tie, and then I think I got it 3 times in one day
oh,
after
okay,
I got it.
well,
So RNG can have a sense of humor every once in a while. So
especially in Punch Out, as we're all aware if you're familiar with the scene. Well, anyway, let's dive it. So, was that your first game? Is that how you got started, or what's the history here?
well, so at the time I was working up in like oil and gas plants, northern Alberta. And just on days off, I was kind of thinking, hey, you know what? I wouldn't mind getting an old NES. Just kind of getting some games from my childhood, whatever. And we were usually doing about 21 days in a row up there. So I had lots of time to YouTube.
Oh,
And I discovered speedrunning was a thing. Had no idea. This was around 2016, I guess. Yeah, I saw like Ninja Turtles and Zelda 1. There was a tournament going on, so that was kind of interesting. And then it eventually led me down the rabbit hole that had shown me Games Done Quick and Sinister One and Zallard doing a lot of their blindfolded punch out and some of that stuff. I was like, what is going on with this punch out scene? Like, this seems unreal to me, you know. The fact that you could even beat Tyson was impressive enough back in the day, or even get past the first minute and a half, and then to see people blindfold race it was pretty fun. So, got to know some of the old names. I'm probably one of the few people who got to know Summoning Salt through Punch Out and had no idea he made YouTube videos first for a long time. That was probably
Had he started by the time you heard of him, or
um no, I think I heard that he made videos before I got started. I kind
oh,
of just
okay.
hung around with Punch Out runners probably for about a year, just kind of learning about it. Speedrunning seems so just impossible to approach in my own mind because, I was just casual. I liked it,
Common
but I had
sentiment
no idea how
upon,
to
yeah,
begin, right?
yeah,
So,
definitely a common sentiment I've heard from first look,
yeah.
but once you dive in, it's not too bad as long as you approach it in
Yeah, they
a
were
smart way.
yeah, they were actually like really great. Like Dave P,
Mm.
4948, he was fantastic. My coach, as I call him, to help me get started. Hefe Man, who probably has, I believe he has the lowest IL times, so he's actually got the best times on the most players and stuff like that. And yeah, I got a hernia at work one time, so I just bought the streaming equipment since I had lots of time and I wasn't allowed to pretty much tie my shoes so I could hold a NES controller. Like now's the time to learn while I'm waiting for surgery. And yeah, that got me down the rabbit hole of speedrunning Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Played that for about 4.5 years almost exclusively. Like
Wow,
I was all in on it. Loved it.
fair enough. That is
Yeah.
something I've seen with a lot of punch out runners. Is that's kind of what they primarily do, ex- almost exclusively. I guess the game just demands it because you can never perfect it just because of how the game works.
Yeah, it's a lot of tight windows, and for me, like being just the first, like it was so different from any other speed run. Like a platformer, you might be able to bring other things to a different platformer. Different tricks might work among other games, but Punch Out just seems like it's in its own bubble, and it's just tight windows, execute, just yeah, it kind of was the only thing I knew at the time, so I just went all in on it. But yeah,
So,
it was a lot of fun though.
when did you start running?
Um, I could probably find that out from those Twitch videos I was talking about, but pretty much around 2018.
Okay, so
I
took a couple years.
Yeah, it was like a year of just watching different speed runs and a lot of Zelda 1 speed runs and Punch Out. It's around 2018 when I got that hernia and decided to just start streaming. Um, I wasn't the golden child of Punch Out by any means. My runs were pretty rough to start off. Definitely had a lot to learn about approaching speed running and like sticking with one fight, then moving on. But like you don't want to just focus on one thing one day and then, lots of little things to learn on how to actually approach a game, do
And
full runs after that.
yeah, that game is definitely not the easiest to approach either, so that does not help.
I will say though there are lots of really helpful guides.
Oh yeah.
WeeGee had a great guide. Over the years, JDerg and K3 they did a lot of work with a Punch Out Wikipedia. So that's a
Ooh.
different way that has links to a lot of the videos, and strats evolved way more, I think, during the time that I picked it up than any other period. Like people were discovering certain things, sure, but like there was the Hippo Manippo
Hmm.
happened, which changed the game. It brought Sinister One back to Punch Out, all kinds of things. So
That was
there
a
was
big
there was a
deal.
lot to learn, and then it was always changing when I was playing too. So I was like, oh, good. I got to enjoy a PB for about 20 minutes, and then I got to learn the new thing. So
Well, that's how it goes sometimes.
yeah.
Well, I guess how did you approach starting out? Like,
Um. Well, Ouija Wii was still on the scene. Like say, Dave P was there, so I was always asking questions. Like I knew I wanted to speedrun it, but I just never really took that plunge, and I probably should have because knowing things about a speedrun is not having the controller in your hand at all, right? So that was probably wasted time, but it was still good knowledge to have to fall back on. Very slowly, just a lot of the easy fights, probably your 2 out of your 3 world records. Learn the Glass Joe. You got to learn your first minor circuit. Um, Try to think. Probably just the easiest ones to remember are what I learned last, which would be Honda 2. Surprisingly, Bull 1. It wasn't even that hard. I just, for some reason, I could not wrap my head around the next phase, but then something just clicked, and I was like, oh, I should have been doing this a long time ago. And Super Macho Man, which is actually maybe a lot of speedrun or Punch Out speedrunners' favorite fight, just
favorite.
because there's like a lot of little things to pick up on, and there's like a subtle. He like does like a quick animation. If you're getting good pattern, bad pattern. He can do a fake out, but just the fight itself is a lot of fun too. So
Hmm.
that was one of the last ones to learn because it's a little trickier.
Yes, it
But
is.
yeah, Punch Out's a lot of just individual fights, and it's very depending on the category, but everyone usually runs any percent, so you can just kind of take your time with it. There was a top 10 speed run on the board where someone's wife came into the room and she was talking about something for like 10 minutes before he went into the Tyson fight and got his PB that he ends. So
Oh yeah.
you got lots of time between fights if it's not an RTA timer, right? So
That's interesting. I feel like at a certain point there should be a cutoff, but
yeah, maybe. Maybe they should have. Wasn't in the rules at the time, so.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably fine, but that could definitely be abused in the future, so maybe something to think about. But
Yeah,
yes, that game
maybe.
is fully timed from adding up all the fight times, so there is an RTA category though, which is interesting.
It's not even all that much different, the RTA category. You just do like 2 fights differently, basically. Honda 2, you get to do it the nice, free, easy way, where you just get him down at 1 minute and he stays down. And then Mr. Sandman, you just do a different strat, but it's essentially the same fight. You just don't do the select strat where you get knocked down as often. So yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. But the RNG is just different. Like you all know how Mario does the count, and then he might just pause,
Mm-hmm.
and then he gets to like 7, and then he pauses again for no reason. Well, that's eating up your time in RTA,
And then if
and
they
you do
get
that
up and
over
fall back
14 fights.
down,
Yeah, all of that is just like you lose a PB because Bald Bull decides to try to get up 3 times. Nobody likes it.
good category, of course, good stuff. But at least there's
Yeah.
options, I guess, because you're not gonna avoid RNG in that game ever. It's just how the game works. So it's fun to
Yeah, I think
have
that's why Hippo
options,
Manippo.
I guess.
Yeah, that's why Hippo Manippo was so popular with everyone. It's like, yeah, it might not be the fastest way to do it, but you're not always resetting at that one point when there's so many times where you can just reset. So,
Hmm.
but that was a bad choke point for sure.
And because the Hippo Manippo strategy involves delaying and starting on the right, like 8 frame increment, I think. Just like an 8 frame window to push the start button. You can't do that in the RTA category, so you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could kind of do the same strats, but you'd be guessing if you were on the right window to do the hippo manippo, because yeah, you gotta wait till like 5 minutes on the nose is when
Mm-hmm.
usually people hit it. Then yeah, you're looking to see when you hit him in the gut. Is it first frame, second frame, or third frame? If you're on that, do you do one right gut punch because a right gut punch is one frame slower than a left gut punch, and you're trying to keep them on a certain script? And yeah, there's a lot of layers to it. That's a lot of stuff I've kind of forgotten, so I'm probably butchering the explanation a little bit there too. But that's essentially it. Like
Close
trying to
enough.
keep them when because there's technically no RNG in Punch Out. It's like all of your inputs decide what's going to happen, but
But you also can't really control that up to a certain point.
exactly, yeah, because like if you hold left on a dodge for a certain amount of frames, then that's gonna just throw things off eventually too, right? So yeah.
Yeah, so essentially RNG because you
Yeah.
you can't you can only do very minimal manipulation. It's a miracle that the King Hippo thing exists at all. So,
It really is though. Yeah, it was such a huge find.
yeah, it's
Lukendor and his brother Zoxox were the one who discovered that.
mhm.
And Zoxox was there for the first time I got my own round one Mike Tyson fight, so that was pretty
Really?
cool. Yeah.
You remember what time you got?
Um, I think it was probably just barely under the wire, probably like a 257 or something like that for my first. But
That was my first.
yeah, it's still counts.
It
It's
does.
still awesome, you know.
I know people with 259s. Counts. There you go. It's fun, if not a bit annoying, but
Yeah.
it is very hard execution. So when you do it, you feel good because there's no other fight quite like that requires that level of frame perfect nonsense, I guess.
Yeah, and then once you get that, then you want to chase the perfect Tyson fight, which is like 22 frame perfect inputs, and yeah,
And you
I
still need RNG to go well, which the odds are not always that good for that.
no, the odds are Tyson is going to have more delays than no delays, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah, even though you can
OMG.
have a perfect fight, it can still not be a great time. So that's always fun. Feels great every time.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Can you? Is there like if you get the worst RNG on Tyson, is it possible to not even be able to do a round one, or can you technically always round one with worst RNG? That's an
I would have known that in the past.
fair enough. Just an interesting question I haven't considered until now.
I think getting a round one is definitely still possible, but a perfect fight, he can definitely dodge too much and he can give you the 8-second delay
Yeah.
and things like that, which will steal it, but you should pretty much always be able to get a round one fight,
Okay.
even if he gives you the worst of the worst. But
Interesting. I just wonder what that would be, but you know what? I'm coming up with a free YouTube idea. The YouTubers can steal this. You know, this is a good idea, right? Good, maybe a good YouTube short. You know, you're
the
welcome.
best of the worst.
the the best worst time you can get.
Yeah, just in every game, maybe there's a best of a worst category of challenges you could do. Yeah.
Although for most games, I feel like that would not fit in a short at that point. But you know,
No, probably not. Yeah.
well, how was the journey through the game? I guess.
Probably like most speedruns, it was just an ever moving goalpost. You know, I
Yep.
first started it was to get a sub 20-minute time. And that just basically you'd have to know every fighter, some sort of basic strategy just to get through. And then if you wanted to move I had the terms for like that was the bronze medal. Getting a sub 17 was the silver medal, and then the really like you need to buckle down and know your times and the newer strats, most of them anyways, was sub 16. That was the gold medal.
Hmm.
Since then, summoning salts got minus or under sub 15, and
Platinum
another
now.
runner too, Funk.
Yeah.
So like, he can call that whatever he wants. That's not my that's not mine to label. So that's on him. I would say platinum, but that's his. You can call it whatever. The salt. I don't know.
I know all the IL fights, especially recently, it was all revamped a grading system to like kind of rank
Yes.
how
Yeah.
good your times are in
Yeah,
ILs.
like a GPA kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Guess I didn't think of it quite in terms of school, but yeah.
Kind of was though. Yeah.
No, I mean it's got the letters. So, although I don't think you can get an S in school, but
Yeah. I
it would
guess
be
not.
funny. Overachiever.
Yeah. Even that might have changed since I looked at it, because yeah, new strats still pop out from time to time, and then now, if you're comparing against like the task time or what's the best like human time that's available right now, or do you just decide that okay, this is just a really good benchmark, that's what S is? I'm not sure how it all plays out right now, but yeah, that's where Hefe Man, he has like the best overall. He's got most of the lowest times. So
I think Funk has the like best sum of best now. Actually, I
oh, did
think
he actually? Oh,
I
see that.
think I hope I'm not
It wouldn't
spreading
surprise me. Yeah, Funk
misinformation, but
might.
I'm
Or
pretty
yeah,
sure that happened very recently.
yeah,
So,
he's definitely one of those guys that he just took to the game, and yeah, it was kind of out of nowheres where he was mentioning some of his Tyson times and things in the Discord. I'm like, no offense, but I don't know who this guy is. How is he this good at it? It was just that fast. He picked up on everything. So
oh, every
pretty
community,
impressive.
especially popular ones, get that person eventually. I remember back when I was a mod for Mario 1. Well, I'm still in the Discord for it, but there was this Nifsky guy and I was like, these times are too good too fast, I don't really believe it. We should look into this. But no, that's just people be like that sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, it's unreal to see. Like I put 4.5 years just to. I got everything that I set out to do. And I was happy enough with it. And if anything, I jokingly warned people to not do IL. It's like, just once you go down that rabbit hole, I never see you playing single segment again. You're
You're
just
here
chasing
forever.
that score. You're looking for the S tier, and it's just you're banging your head against that RNG wall. Some people love it though. It's I think it's like the oldest speedrun from like Red Tom's website or something like that for IL attempts. I'm
Oh
butchering
yeah.
something else there too, but yeah, it's one of the oldest like beginning speedruns that was documented on websites or something. So
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know like what was technically the first or whatever, but was that
yeah, I
website
don't
like
know.
fully just for Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
I think so. I think that was just a Punch Out community one. Yeah.
Hmm. It's just very interesting how spread out they were and how they formed completely like independently of a greater community because it's just so different than it is now.
Oh yeah.
That kind of history has
Yeah.
always been fascinating, especially for this game. It has such a huge history of all things. But I guess it's because it's got kind of the in-game timer and games that have always had that have always kind of technically had speedrunning.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I'm definitely, like I say, I'm butchering a lot of it. I've been out of the Punch Out scene for a couple years and stuff, so don't don't look to me for all of the perfect answers on that one for sure. There's definitely better people, but yeah, it just happened to be the game that I fell in love with first. It was either that or Zelda 1. It could have been either one, honestly, but I feel like I hadn't I don't know if I had ever beaten Tyson back in the day. It was just like one of those things where I was like, I'm pretty sure I beat Super Mario Brothers 1, but I couldn't tell you for 100%. It's been so many years, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's really why I just picked it up.
It's
I was like, well,
interesting.
I just want to beat him, you know?
Like, I personally, I don't know how people beat Tyson without knowing like the speedrun strats because of just how the fight is. Like, especially if you get to like phase 3, it's just I don't know how you get through it.
Yeah,
Or
there's a lot of
when I
just
say
like
phase 3, I meant round 3,
subconscious.
sorry.
There's a lot of like subconscious stuff too. Like I never picked up that soda threw in pairs.
Mhm.
Even to when I was speedrunning, I was like, that would have helped to know. Like he was always this roadblock back in the day. Like if I would have just looked at the game a little differently and noticed their patterns instead of just reacting to everything, right?
Mhm.
So there was no chance that I knew a Tyson pattern developed whatsoever. It was all panic dodges and just try to survive. I had no strategies, but I definitely remember making it to round 2,
Yeah.
but I never remembered if I beat him, so that's probably the only reason I chose that over Zelda 1 first for speedrunning, honestly.
Because it's something you have yet to do even in a casual sense. So let's destroy it in this way instead.
Yeah, I think that was my first soft goal, was just get 14-0. That's
Mhm.
all I wanted to do, just get through the game, and then yeah. Now it bugs me if I play the game and it's been so long and I don't get a round 1 on every fighter. It's like, oh, a shell of who I used to be, you know.
My fun fact
So,
about 14-0 is so to this day I haven't learned past Great Tiger up until Tyson. Like obviously I've done Tyson, but this would have been years ago where I still had my 259 Tyson or whatever. But I just started from Glass Joe and I got 14-0 on my first try.
oh,
I
nice.
which is my current single segment PB of like 40 minutes. So I decided to submit it because I was like, I can't believe I even beat the game without losing a fight. So I had to submit it.
Yeah.
But the I know my Tyson. I went to round 3, and I don't know how I survived, but that round just makes no sense. It feels like complete unmemorizable unmemorizable luck. Just
Yeah,
completely.
everything you've learned to get that far is thrown out of the window.
Mm-hmm.
He does random straight punches and the uppercuts just come out of left field, and yeah, it's a good luck. That's
Mm-hmm. So.
Now that is the round where you just react, basically, yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
some of it you can't even. So yeah, it's such a good game. Just so much fun with it.
Yeah. And the grind never stops because of how it is. So there you go. And it
Yeah,
is.
I always said back in the day, like it was like those questions asked, if you could only bring one game or something to a desert island, what would it be? Or like, well, it'd have to be Punch Out because I could always play it, and you'd never achieve the time that you wanted to, right? There's probably like, Elden Ring would have more to offer, but no, I'd still go with Punch Out, I think. So
That's interesting. I've never really thought about that scenario. Probably because it would never happen in real life, but
yeah, it's
hmm.
probably hard to run an extension cord out to a desert island too. But you know, I mean, if you throw
We're
logic out the
speaking in
window.
theoreticals. It's
Yeah, you know,
fine.
there's a solar plant there for some reason. I don't know.
That would work. But yeah, I guess just anything more to talk about in the journey through the game.
Um,
I mean, it's a pretty long 4 years is nothing to scoff at, so.
yeah, and I mean, people still think that I should come back, so I guess I must have done something right with it, I guess. But I don't know. I think more of it as an amazing speedrun to get started with, but also a cautionary tale for new people to get into speedrunning is don't just put all your eggs in one basket. Like I probably would still be playing it if I just had a different speedrun or just learn different types of games once a week. Something like that, just mix it up, keep it fresh. Do that, but yeah, I always loved that there was something new to learn. There was always that moving goalpost, but at some point, I just had certain goals to set, and then it was like get a perfect Tyson at the end of a run. Didn't have to be a PB or anything. That was my last one that I checked off the box. And 2021, I got to win the tournament that we had held. So
Oh, wow.
that
Okay.
was, yeah,
That's a
yeah.
pretty big deal.
I used to be okay. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it was just yeah, great journey, great people in the community, and I was surprised when I looked fairly recently because I think when I left there was like 50-ish runs on the board, and since then it's like triple the size of
Mhm.
submissions in a few years. So glad to see it's still popular and picking up, and I
Yeah.
hope it finds a lot more Funkmeisters to keep pushing that time because I'd like to see what someone would be willing to do. Would they stop using Hippo Manippo just to try to get that
Ooh.
37 Hippo time and just save that 4 seconds there, you know? So who knows? Who knows how desperate you have to get at some point, right? So
Mhm. So, what did you finish off your journey with?
I think it was see, I don't even remember.
Fair
I
enough.
do have my speedrun page. I think it was like 1539.
It's pretty good.
I
Pretty
think.
good. Do you know what place it would have been back then?
The
Surely top
highest I
10.
ever got was 7th
Okay.
on the board. I think I was also like around the 7th or 8th person to ever record a blindfolded Tyson, but it wasn't like an
Oh, you've
impressive
done
time.
blindfolded.
That's the only fight I was ever interested in learning blindfolded, actually.
Hmm. Which is funny because it's like the one you can't really. Well, I don't know. I guess I don't really know how blindfolded works. Maybe more modern fights or modern strategies. You can figure out some buffer strategies, but the whole famous lore is way back when it was impossible.
Well, after a while in single segment, if I didn't get a round one Tyson, PB was like 100% shot. It
Mhm.
always comes down to Tyson fights, right? So
Yep.
that's your reward for doing so well is that you have to still pull off a bunch of frame perfect inputs at the end. So it's why a lot of people kind of shy away from it, and I respect that decision. Don't get me wrong. You got to know what you're willing to sign up for. But so yeah, if I ever had a round two Tyson, that's how it would start. If the PB was gone, I would just close my eyes and just try to finish off the Tyson fight in round two,
I see.
which was a lot easier because his HP was usually pretty close and stuff like that. And then after I had gotten pretty decent at just beating that portion of round two, I just kind of did it one day. I just kind of sat down for like 3 hours and got it.
Hmm. So probably finished in the middle of round two then.
Oh yeah, yeah. It
Mhm.
was. I don't know. I probably have that save somewheres too. But
Yeah, I know round two is significantly easier than round one. It's still not easy, but just in general, if you get there are strategies you can pull off and buffer.
yeah, they were definitely a lot kinder with round two, where it's like more of a set script.
Mhm.
So you can survive the panic of round one. Then they kind of intended. Okay, he's gonna do this. Then he's gonna do this. You know, like they at least threw you a little bit of a bone to survive round one. But
It's crazy just how difficult they made it, but
yeah.
I guess it makes sense given who it was.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you kind of had to raise the bar for someone who seemed impossible to beat in real life, right?
Mhm. You just always wonder what they were thinking when they programmed all this stuff because it's very technical. So, I don't know, just interesting.
Yeah, a lot of the conversations in Discord, just from an outsider looking in, someone who doesn't know how to work tasks, stuff like that, like MPAP. he knew the game inside out, and even still, he would say things like that too. Like, why is it like this? Like, why would they choose to do it like that? It makes no sense sometimes. Like, it's so over the top. Just
Yeah.
and they usually had pretty tight deadlines to make games back in the day too, right? So
Yeah, I
it
can't even
seems
imagine.
impressive that they put that much thought and extra effort into making subtle random spots instead of it just being the same fight, and they probably could have just pushed it out sooner, but yeah, it was glad they did, right?
Well, yes and no, you know.
Yeah. Fair. That's fair. Yeah.
The Punch Out way, but yeah, no, it's a very very fascinating game all around. Like I never grew up with it in any way, shape, or form. I learned it through learning about speedrunning, but it's one of those games. It's so unique compared to most games. So I don't know, something about it pulls you in. Because to this day, I love watching it, and I've been watching it now for like 8 years almost. It's good stuff.
Yeah, still draws me in when I see somebody playing it.
Hmm.
Gotta go see.
So when you stopped playing, was it burnout?
Um, I think I was kind of approaching that level. Like I was already slowing down on speedrunning it a little bit before the 2021 tournament. And then that's when it was like a few months beforehand, I had gotten the perfect Tyson at the end of the run. I was kind of like, well, that's all I set out to do, right? And kind of just backed away. But then there was the summer tournament that was coming up. And that's actually how I got my last PB because I was the guy who'd always just go for every strat. Like if I was getting a PB, I didn't want to leave anything on the table to safety, and I wasn't calculating the odds of blah blah blah. I was like, no, there's no spreadsheets. Just foot all the way down on the gas pedal and hope for the best. But ironically, the one time that I was practicing consistency for the tournament and the strategy that I was going to use and don't deviate, just stick to a thing, so I wouldn't have nerves on fights. I just try to execute the same thing all the time, and that's what got me my last PB. That's the one, the 1539.45. I see.
Oh, there you go.
So race strats can be good, you know.
Hmm.
Learn a little safety.
All
But
right.
yeah, that was pretty much it. I had a little bit of burnout, and then I think winning the tournament was like, okay, like there's really nothing left I can do now. So it's been a great journey. I'll go out on top, you know,
Fair enough.
which is not really going out on top. Just, you know, I lie to myself so I could feel good about walking away from it. But it still haunts me a little bit. I still always do kind of want to go back, but I
Yeah,
don't regret what I accomplished or where I stopped, anyways. So.
that's good. It's nice when you can at least find some sort of resolution, because otherwise you're just trapped forever. So,
Well, yeah, there's always a better time to get, so
hmm
you have to just know when enough is enough for you, you know.
hmm no, that's very important, especially for the mental game, because that's a large part of speedrunning is the mental aspects of it. So, makes sense. But yeah, nothing like retiring on top of the tournament, I guess. I know
Yeah, it was nice.
was that hosted at Speed Gaming at all, or was that the one I'm thinking of that was hosted by like what was it, TKO tournament? Is that what they
Yeah,
called
that
it?
was our own Punch Out tournament
Hmm.
page that
Okay,
the group made. So it was yeah, TKO tournament
I
was the one.
remembered. I was
Yeah.
watching it. I know. I don't think I watched the winning game, or maybe I did. It's been what, 4 years, I guess. So hard to
Yeah,
remember.
and that actually is like the bittersweet thing about my departure from it is that nobody saved the final match.
Really?
Nobody actually recorded that one.
What?
So, like, I had Summoning Salt, Hefe, and Sinister One doing commentary. Just, you know, they did a fantastic job. It was a great event. They did it all well. and just after like the 2 weeks or whatever it was that you had to save the video, just slipped everyone's mind.
Wow.
Just gone.
That's
Yeah.
that sucks.
So, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But thankfully, like we were recording locally just in case something would go on. So I actually had to reach out to K3, who was in the finals against me, and get his video. And then I've got my video. And then I re recorded it just in the same format. And I kind of did it live like it was going on.
Okay.
And then I played that video that I had made, and we just talked over it, K3 and I. So there's a
Oh.
version of it that's at TKO tournament, but it's not the actual
The original.
the event that happened
Yes.
live. Yeah.
Wow, that's
So
very interesting.
yeah,
Lost
just
media.
totally a lost moment in
At least the
speedrun. But yeah,
commentary
we
track.
recreated.
Wow.
There's like a brief moment in mine because I just had like a Windows update and there was my microphone wasn't working or something. So when I tried to pick it up, you get like an echo of like summoning Salt and Sinister trying to ask me a question, but my audio doesn't come through and weird stuff. So there's kind of proof they did it, but you know, yeah,
Lost
just
media.
that one stings the most. I felt pretty bad that I didn't save that one. You know,
Yeah. I understand. That's unfortunate. But
yeah.
yeah, Twitch has always been a bit annoying with how the whole saving your press broadcasts and highlights work, especially now, as we alluded to at the start. So
Yeah, they haven't gotten better with it, that's for sure.
oh no. Quite the opposite, in fact. But
Yeah.
what's funny about your tournament story is for we would have a yearly Mario 1 Warpless tournament
Mhm.
on speed gaming. And the last one we did was 2020 and I won that one. So we're retired on top in a way just because they haven't had more tournaments of that caliber yet. So
Yeah.
I get
Yeah,
it.
it's
Kind
that was always some of the most fun. I think the best takeaway is just racing against your friends,
of. Hmm.
people who were like up and comers at the time, like 8-Bit Gamer X, who at one point everyone thought was going to take the title from Salt for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And at one point, yeah, we were both very close when we were both just got our sub 16 stuff like that. So we got to meet up in one tournament match the year before, and it was like within the group, it was highly anticipated, and I was looking forward to it. I was like, finally, the moment has come, and it's going to be in the tournament setting. What more could we ask for? And my controller rubbers couldn't have been any worse. I was
Mm,
losing inputs. I'm like, really?
of
I
course.
couldn't do the Sandman dodges. Like everything just fell apart, and I was like, we just, yeah, that one stung a little too. I feel like that could have been so much fun, but just yeah, never really got to happen the way it could have played out. But he still would have won anyways. I have no illusions of that
It
at the
just would have been
time.
nice
Yeah,
if it was a little closer and there were no issues. That makes sense.
yeah, just for entertainment value for everybody. But yeah, it fell apart on my end pretty fast. So
Oh well.
just another one of those what if moments of speedrunning history, I guess.
But yeah. Yeah, I love tournaments, and it's a shame they're kind of going out of style to some extent. I know we have our big Mario 1 stuff with the new technology and everything, which is super cool, but it's also a little different. Like, it's not the whole one on one tournament style stuff that, I don't know. It's just interesting that that style just completely bit the dust, essentially. Like, I think
Yeah,
speed
Zelda
gaming
1
still
still
does
goes
stuff,
strong though.
but I haven't really tuned in recently because there hasn't been anything to that extent that has interested me. So, I don't know. Just interesting how
Yeah, that's
things have
one thing I
changed.
appreciate about Zelda 1. That's how I actually found out about Twitch when I was looking up the speedrunning. There was a Zelda 1 tournament going on. It was like John Tabin was announcing, and I got to see all these Lack Attack names and popular speedrunners who I had no idea who existed. I was like, where is this even happening? Like, because YouTube doesn't do live anything at that point. I don't
Yeah,
think. I don't know.
they didn't do live stuff
You know.
yet.
So it's like, where is this happening? And then yeah, one stream he said Twitch. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but at least I have a hint now of where to go. And then yeah, that's how it all happened, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Started hanging out with the Z1 and Punch Out community to get started.
Did you ever pick up Zelda 1 as a speedrun?
Never as a speed run. I think Punch Out kind of ruined that for me because it was so casual. I
Yeah.
could kind of wait till there was a break in the conversation, do a fight, and then we could just talk about stuff because there's a break in between. Whereas Zelda 1, it's a nonstop 30-minute. You're counting, you got globals, you've got your active count. If you see this enemy drop that, you got to know that this is I was like, that just doesn't sound my style. Like I was very casual, just like to shoot the breeze, have some fun. And it was a little bit too, oh, that's a serious speed run, you know. That's
Yes, MTPO, notoriously unserious speedrun.
oh yeah, the flip flops and shorts of speedrunning. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, funny how it works. Yeah, something so technical, but it also has all those breaks
mhm.
that yeah, it ruined me. I'm still terrible at reading chat when I'm playing a game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I can't like talk while I'm in the middle of play like most people. It's just not something I can really do. That's why I'm grateful for like events having commentators. They can do the work for me as I focus, but I've definitely tried doing self commentary for my own runs during events, and I just yeah, not good at that. My brain can only think of so much stuff, and I want most of that focus to be on the game so I can perform well.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that's actually some of the most fun that I have is like when I'm hosting an event or doing commentary for things.
Hmm.
I think I just enjoy that more than the actual speedrunning itself because you just get to have fun while everyone else gets to sweat and panic over their times, and you just kind of talk about the strats, but more or less just try to make it a fun experience for everybody. And that's what
Yeah.
I've always tried to do, just as streaming, is just make it a chill place to be. That's the main goal, so I have more fun with that.
Hmm.
Got to do a few events when, like JSR was doing, and a group of others, but it was like a Speedrun Hall of Fame. They tried
Ah,
to get up and
yes.
running for a
Hmm.
little while, so I was involved with that. Uh, did some commentary with like Hungry Korea for an event, which I think went really well. And eventually, like very recently, one of the last things I ever did was the commentary at GDQ, but might be jumping ahead a few years, so I don't know if you want to do a timeline of things there.
I mean, that is significant, and you brought it up, so might as well. Although I will ask, because I do remember the Speedrun Hall of Fame stuff. Did that just kind of die off?
Turns out it's really expensive to keep a website
Ah,
up and
fair
running,
enough.
and takes a lot of community involvement and things to go. And with basically speedrun.com already being a thing, to
Yeah.
try shift focus on only top times and stuff. I don't know. It just I feel like it was a great idea, and there were things. If there was a PB pace that was going to happen, that was potential for world record, or just a PB within a category, it would send out a notification
Hmm.
to keep people like interested in the community in real time instead of just here's a submitted time. Oh, it happened 2 days ago. You know.
Yeah, I get it.
So it had a lot that I really liked and I was excited about. But yeah, it's tough when everybody has full-time jobs and
Mm,
things,
yeah.
and then that was also going to be a full-time job after, big commitment.
Hmm.
So
That's interesting because now we have the Run, that website, and that does track like people's live paces in runs. So that would be interesting if there was a feature that was like, hey, this is world record pace. That could have the potential to do almost exactly that if that wasn't an
I feel like
idea
that
in
was
their
an
mind already.
extension of one of the links, like with speedrun. Maybe they were using that to do the live tracking of it or something.
Hmm.
Again, it's been a little while, but yeah, it was a fun project to be part of, and we did like fundraiser events and stuff. So I've always wanted to be more involved with just like the retro community after I got out of Punch Out, stuff like that. I was like, I feel like I've only been in one community for the most part. So
Yeah.
if I can do more announcing, and after doing the things with the tournaments, I had a lot of fun with that. So tried to branch out, and then I think that got me to the Super Smash TV tournament that was going on for a few years. I entered that and forgot to sign up this year. Yep.
No, well.
Dropped the ball on that one, but that's just started. A lot of great runners from a lot of different games just kind of show up, and it's a super fast category. It's usually like around 5 to 8 minutes per run kind of thing. It's just on easy category. You beat Super Mutoid Man and best 2 out of 3 and move on. But yeah, that's I think the last one we had there were like 32 people in the tournament.
Hmm.
So it was gaining a lot of traction. It was a lot of fun. And just yeah, people like CHX who were like world record holder in Metroid. Turns out he's also really good at Super Smash TV, you know? It's just funny how you never think of one game might translate to another one, or you only see a person running one thing for a while. When they try something different, it's like, oh, they're also like they pick up on that right away. Like I kind of stumbled into golf games that way. It turns out I have a lot of fun with speedrunning golf games, and that's not Punch Out or anything I watched when I first started. So you just never know, right?
Mm-hmm. You gotta discover it somehow.
Yeah.
So, like, how does speedrunning a golf game work, or what are the golf games you're doing?
Well, see, so my first introduction, Crit Rocket Runner. No, actually, that was after. Sorry, I'm just looking at
Hmm.
speedrun.com.
Yeah.
So I think at one point I was looking at games that, like, my father used to play a lot back in the day. There was like a pinball game for Super Nintendo. He was like really good at stuff like that. And I remember that we used to play NES Black Box Golf.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, maybe I should look at see what a speedrun of that is, right? And they had a fun category, so I didn't run like the any percent, but it kind of is. But it's one wood and putter only,
Hmm.
and I had a blast with that one. So I was like, oh, that's kind of neat, you know. Kind of put it away for a while. Then there was Galf came out, just like a homebrew game, and it was super fast. Like a run was, if you were 2 minutes, you had a terrible run. You have 9 holes of Galf. So I was like, well, this is perfect, you know. Everybody has time to run Galf, so uh, had world record for a bit, and then Skunky and Stormcrow bought me with that. Two very excellent speedrunners themselves. And recently got back into it. There was like Jumbo Ozaki. I forget who was playing it. Scotty, maybe? Saw them playing it, and I was like, oh, that actually looks like a pretty fun speedrun. He was like, it's actually a really horrible game. And he wasn't wrong. It
Well.
handles terribly. But for a speed run, it's got a couple redeeming factors. Like it's easy to chip in a way. Like it's not super picky if the ball is close on the overworld screen, as I called it anyways. Then it was easy enough. So I was like, okay, there's potential for fun with that one. And the last one that I did, which kind of ties back to JSR and Peanut Butter's run at GDQ, but every Christmas for the last few years, a group of us speedrunners, like Skunky, Stormcrow, Crit Rocket Runner, a bunch of others like Cheese Viking Games, we call it Bopmas.
Hmm.
So at Christmas time, you get a month. We draw someone's name from a hat, and we try to bop one of their speedrun times as a present to them. So
What a nice person.
this year, yeah, it's just fun because yeah, you get to learn their game. And yeah, there's a little bit of smack talk that goes with
Mm,
it in good fun, but
that's a fascinating
yeah,
concept. I haven't heard of it yet.
you know what? It's fantastic because it gets you out of your comfort zone because you pull somebody's name, uh, like the year before, Cheese Viking Games. They had a number of different games that I could have picked, but it was Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball.
Ah, I
And
see
I
where this
hadn't
is
even
going.
considered that people would have a leaderboard for the home run derby. I was like, I used to play that game so much back in the day, like good memories. So that's the game I chose, and I ended up bopping the time in like 4 hours on day one. So I didn't even get the full month out of it. There was no learning a speed run, but I had a blast with it. This year though was Golf Grand Slam because I had Stormcrow 56K, and if you know Stormcrow, when he picks a speedrun game, he runs it into the ground. He's just really good at games. So um, that was like the most approachable game. His time was still like it used to be world record, and it was like the benchmark that people would always shoot for. But I was like, well, I like the other golf games, so I'll try this one, you know. So ended up bopping his time, sang him a song, letting him know he got bopped, and then yeah, I kept grinding the game down. Decided I wanted to get world record out of it, and eventually got that. So yeah, that was this year's Botmas. So next year, who knows? Might get paired up against somebody else. So kind of keeps you on your toes, though. You
Hmm.
never know what type of speedrun game you might pick, right? So,
That's a fun concept. I love like just the little community, little dumb fun things.
yeah,
I don't know. I've never really been involved in something like that, but they always sound like enjoyable, at least to watch. I don't know. No, obviously you have to be actually interested to want to do it, but I don't know. Sounds like a fun thing.
yeah. This is more
Unique.
just
Unique.
you know, yeah, 100%. And yeah, it's like we've known each other for probably the whole time that I've been on Twitch. I've known those group of guys, like Yells Rake and stuff. It's sometimes you just don't even think of the other games that they've ran. Like you just kind of forget that. Oh yeah, you're not just the marbles guy. You speed run TNC Town and Surf Country. You know, I can't even remember the name of that. It's that terrible skateboard and surf game.
I wouldn't
Everybody
know.
loved the look of it. You wanted to rent it as a kid, and then you were immediately disappointed as soon as you played it. That
Mm,
was that was Town and Country Surf in a nutshell.
well, have you mentioned most games you've ran at this point?
Probably. Um, let's see. I'll look at the board. So I guess one of the early ones, another person I got to know early on was Cananophone
Mm-hmm.
through his Zelda 1 speedrunning. But he liked to pick a lot of like jankier games and stuff. He got me to see the seedy underbelly of speedrunning NES games. The stuff that nobody talks about, but he learned it and he was always really good at it. And he's actually really good at Street Fighter 2010
Mm.
Final Fight, but there was the new glitch that was discovered on the Japanese cart. If you do a frame perfect start button press on the last frame when your character is like exploding and dying, it does a death warp, like some sort of glitch, moves you to the next stage. So I was like, well, I've done frame perfect inputs with Tyson. How difficult could this be? Yeah. It's about as difficult as trying to hit a 1/60th of a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not easy, but yeah, it was just a stupid speed run. So I kind of like that janky one. That was fun.
Yeah.
Um,
So what's
and
nice about
then
speedrunning is all games usually make good speedruns. If they're good or if they're really bad, it's still good. Still good for speedrunning.
Yeah, sometimes a horrible casual game can be like some of the most fun for a speedrun, right?
Mm-hmm. You never
Um,
know.
yeah, I did. There was another like I think it was 4 frame perfect inputs for pinball and
Hmm.
another NES black box game. I was like, some sort of manip at the start. If you hit it at the exact right time, it got you to like the bonus round or however you want to call it, where you're making more points. Anyways, so to set it up to try to get to the 100,000 points category, that was something. So, who was it? Sin was playing that Sin stream,
Hmm.
and he made it look very approachable. I really thought, oh, knock this one out in a weekend. That looks super fun, you know. I think it was 3 weeks it took me to get just to like finally get a run that was okay.
Dang.
Yeah, ended up turning out to be a pretty good time at the time. I think it was like third or fourth place on the leaderboard, but it was like, wow, that he made that look way easier than it was, right? So that was a fun one.
Yep.
Yeah, I did like just a lot of dabbling, just random stuff because I wanted to try just get out of speedrunning. Not like never do it again, but um so I picked up Super Mario World Kaizo hack for a little while too.
Oh,
Um
that's
I
different.
only did like one speed run of like Quickie World too, but yeah, I pretty much did that for like a year. I really liked those for a while, but very hard on the hands. I
Mm.
got to tell you, that is a tough thing. Even like Barbarous King and people like the Wild Grim, stuff like that. Like they have to have their break days because they play those expert hacks that just murder their hands. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, I don't know. Have you ever tried one of those or watch any of that?
I don't think so. No, I definitely haven't tried it.
Yeah, I know I've
Kaizo
seen
is
Lack
not.
Attack dabble, but
Yeah, Kaizo's not really my thing. I don't know. It feels like it'd be more annoying than I don't know. It never really interested me. I guess is the long and short of it. Watching it's fine,
okay.
and I have dabbled in a little bit of stuff, but I don't know. That requires a different skill set and mindset of people that are not me. So I'll let them handle it.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah,
is
it
cool.
was a fun venture. Like I liked it, but yeah, it's its own thing for sure. I think I tried to mentally tie it together. It's like, I'm used to resetting in speed runs, so what's dying 1,000 times per level in Kaizo, you know? So kind of helps that, if you're willing to just not make progress for a while for the greater good, you can kind of stick with it. But yeah, it was more just its own departure, but really had fun with that. But I did a speed run of that for the Speedrun Hall of Fame
Mm,
event, actually, just as something totally different because I think J-Derg was doing Punch Out,
I see. Yeah.
and that was still really the only entertaining game I could have provided. So I was like, well, wait, I guess I could do this, right? So
Everyone loves Kaizo.
yeah, it's just fun. There's a good soundtrack in that one. Plus, it's Quickie World too, so all the stages are meant to be done super fast. So it looks more of a speed run too, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, no. Other than that, Super Smash TV, just like Punch Out, was when I got my last. Well, that was during the tournament itself. During the match, I got my sub 6, which was tough time to get. And then other than that, yeah, it's pretty much on to the era of JSR and Gruntiatus.
Fair enough.
um, yeah, which was all pretty much GDQ related things. We both did Beavis and Butthead on Genesis. That one, well, obviously he lived in Vegas at the time, so we were doing that online. And that was for his Trials of JSR, the AVGN trials
Yes.
that he did.
Mm-hmm.
He's mentioned it on a previous episode, so
Mm-hmm.
if you're on YouTube and you happen to stumble across this one, go find out about that one on that other episode. And watch all other 110 episodes of this, obviously. Just keep them playing, right?
So true. Yeah.
What else would you do on YouTube? Come on.
Uh,
There's nothing else.
this is the only content that is necessary. Clearly.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, so we did that for a GDQ hotfix. We played Beavis and Butthead.
As seen on TV,
That
I
was fun to
assume.
learn. What's that?
As seen on TV, I assume.
Yeah, the Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. I mean
Yeah, we
the
had...
name of the show on the hotfix. That's what I assume it was for. Could be wrong.
Oh, I actually don't even remember what
Fair enough.
the theme was on that one. Yeah.
That's just one of the
Yeah, you
shows
got
they
me thinking,
do.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm making
Yeah,
an
that's very...
assumption.
Probably would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was actually the first time that I'd ever done a 2-player speedrun. And I gotta say, everyone loves Beavis and Butthead. It was a great event for GDQ. But my god, that is a horrible game. It is well deserved to be on the AVGN show. For sure, and part of JSR speedruns.
Yeah.
I almost didn't even want to do it because like he was looking for somebody to help him with the 2-player run. He wanted to try that, just as part of the trials. So even on his website, you can see the run there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I was trying to learn the game, the very first level, the sewers, I was like, I don't know if I even want to do this. Like, I want to help. Like, you're a good buddy. But my god, this is a game that pushes our friendship to that level. I don't know if I'm willing to commit. It was terrible, but then eventually you break through a little bit. And it's like, okay, like anything, you know, practice it enough, move past it. It was fine, but and it was fun. We had some fun with it. We set up like the Beavis and Butthead intro where they both have like the two of them looking at each other with like the squiggly lines. So we had a fun overlay. We had a fun time with it. It was good. And then yeah, I guess other than that, that pretty much brings us up to last year for my first ever attended live in person GDQ. Because of Botmas, I tried to submit my time for Ken Griffey Jr. It wasn't going in, taking a while. I think I gave it like a month. Like I wasn't like, oh, it's been 3 days. I need to message whoever. Like everyone's a volunteer on speedrun.com. You know, give them some time. I had to actually log in today because I hadn't been in so long. I moderate a few categories now, so like, whoops, forgot to check the website. You know, so I get it. But yeah, he was just kind of like, you know what? I'm trying to downsize. Do you want to be the moderator on there? I was like, I guess so. Sure, why not? Right? Seems like a pretty chill category. And mentioned it to JSR, who was training Peanut Butter on how to learn a few different games. He'd done Gyromite the year before.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, well, Ken Griffey Jr. is probably a good game to play, right? You literally just have to press the button. There's auto fielding. He was like, oh, yeah. You know, got the ball rolling on that. And yeah, it was actually a really nice call when it came in. I don't think I've ever told anybody this part of it, but at the time, like, just like father was diagnosed with cancer, stuff was just, you know, not in a great place in life. And then I got a call out of the blue from JSR. I was like, oh, what now? Like something terrible just happened, you know, one of those. And he was like, do you want to do commentary live for this event? I was like, that's a bucket list item I didn't know existed. Yes, I'm definitely saying yes to this. So yeah, went to Minnesota. I had met you there.
True.
We got to meet briefly, and that was something else.
That event, yeah.
The whole event was amazing. Yeah,
Oh, I love GDQ. I can't
so
stop
much fun.
going.
But yeah, it was kind of touch and go because beforehand we were like, well, there's a lot of equipment. JSR needs to like make sure the peanut butter only eats so much, so he's more attentive with the treats and blah blah blah. So me and J Derg, No Diggity went out to go eat. No Diggity drove us to a sushi place,
Mm.
and yeah, we all got sushi. And me and Diggity were just taking a picture because we were like, "Wow, this looks amazing." And J Derg was so hungry that because we were like, oh, we'll share a bit of what each of us didn't order just to try it out, if it's really this good.
Mm-hmm.
And in the picture, you can see that J Dirk, you got the one that you light on fire and everything. By the time that the two of us had the pictures of it, it's like 80% eaten already. He just destroyed it. I was like, I guess we're not sharing that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're just laughing. Later on, J Dirk gets food poisoning.
Oh my god.
And the only sushi we didn't share was the one that he wolfed down that they set on fire just that day beforehand. So if he would have actually shared that sushi, I probably wouldn't have done the commentary for peanut butter that night at GDQ. The whole reason I went to Minnesota could have been
Wow.
taken out by sushi right there.
That's wild.
Yeah.
The stories you really just never think of.
It almost all fell apart that fast. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's that's funny. But yeah, that run ended up being just one of the coolest, one of the most memorable runs I've ever got to see. So I'm really glad that all worked out. I got front row seats, and by that I mean I was on the floor. Worth it. Um,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
yeah. Oh my god, it was just so hype. And then I was hanging out in the green room. There's our boy in the camera. I was
Yeah.
hanging out in the green room beforehand because it was very tense, and I don't know, just nice to chill for a little bit.
Yeah, it was good because we all kind of had our parts. We did like a call beforehand just to kind of be like, okay, like my role was more of like just to keep the commentary flowing.
Hmm.
Treach had her part. Andy was just kind of like thrown in later, and his security bit was hilarious. He was just
Yeah.
stoic the whole time, just the shades, the best. It was perfect, but it was a weird feeling because yeah, I was like I'd never been to one. And behind the show, like everyone just kind of knew what we were supposed to do. That was my first time meeting Spike Vegeta. He was the crowd guy.
Hmm.
He doesn't get enough credit for like just how much work he did because you don't see it. Like
Oh
he was
yeah,
there, he
no,
was
he was.
controlling the crowd. He got the chants going and making sure people were interacting. And yeah, it was like his part was huge too. And you don't really get to know it, but.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember just before going on, Treach just kind of looked over, like, "Are you ready? You good?" Like everyone, quick check in because we're all just kind of loose hanging out, but you gotta like keep people away from peanut butter. So we were all kind of security backstage, like nobody disrupt the dog, and we're great. Everything's good. And then right before, like, okay, we're gonna get the run started. Somebody crashes into the divider.
Hmm.
They tried to get too close and get a picture, and they hit the divider wall that was beside and spooked peanut butter
Hmm.
right before we went live. It's
I
like, no.
remember this happening. Yep. Because I was right there.
Yeah,
I heard the bonk, I guess. So,
yeah,
yep.
and like so, if you watch the start of that run again, and where peanut butter's, he keeps looking back.
Hmm.
He's like, and JSR's like, oh, like, come on, buddy. But he's
Hmm.
like, no, something weird just happened, and I need to know what's going on, right? I was like, oh no. Another moment of everything could go sideways.
Well, despite
And
everything,
then,
I think it was perfect.
oh,
Everything
yeah.
about it. Commentary was great, crowd was great, the theme, the game choice and theme, everything. just under
He's saying,
estimate, the
"Take me out to the ball
tension, the
game." Like,
clutch. Oh, it could not have gone better.
yeah, everything, like, for all of the little moments that could have derailed it, and just the little behind the scenes things, and, like, the technical difficulty that happened, we dropped the game feed halfway
Mm-hmm.
through, then we sang, like, "Take me out to the ball game," then, yeah, just extra innings, just under the estimate.
Mm.
Peanut Butter hits the game-winning home run with Ken Griffey, everything was like, yeah, it was just the tense energy, but the magic in that room, like, people were just, like, chest bumping and high-fiving.
Oh,
Oh
the
my god,
people I were
it was
next to did
so
a group
unreal.
hug and fell over onto the back couch. It's all visible, but
Oh, man.
wow. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
it almost felt scripted, like it was just too perfect.
it did.
But it wasn't. That was all just how it went.
Yeah, just looking back, just
Yeah. One of the most
so that was
memorable
my
runs.
first GDQ experience too,
So,
so, like, just
high note,
an
yeah.
11, way up there.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that all worked out because I have not that's just one of the best just live things I've ever got to see. It was so perfect in every way.
Yeah, and it's great to be able to talk about it with people who are in, like, the speedrunning community and stuff like that too, because, like, I tried to show some friends, I'm like, "You're never gonna believe this." Like, we were on ESPN, it was like, "It was
Mhm.
amazing, it's magic," and they're like, "So what's the dog doing?" Like, it's just they weren't part of speedrunning scene, it was like, "Okay." Like, "What do you mean, okay?" It's an extra innings
Boo.
home run. It's for millions of charity dollars. Like, come on, you gotta love this. Like, yeah. So it's a lot of fun just catching up with somebody who was actually in the crowd too. Like,
Mhm. Oh,
you
I
felt
was
the
as
energy
front
that
as
was
you can
there.
be because I was in front of the back couch on the floor.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I remember at the end he hits the winning home run and then he takes him into the crowd. So that was right where I was.
yeah.
Very memorable. But oh man, just such a good moment because I've
Oh,
been to
yeah,
countless GDQs at this point, but that top 3 moment if not the best. It was perfect.
yeah. And did you see those pictures of like Spike Vegeta, where he's like sitting on the edge of the stage, and then when the home run happens, there's like 4 pictures that go off of his reaction. And it's just like, he's just like smiling, like he's just loving the energy. And there's like this lift-off picture, and there's, yeah, like it's just the perfect time
Oh
to just
man.
snap the picture of it. Captured the energy just so well.
Yeah.
I'll look for them. I think I got them on Discord. I'll send them to you if you haven't seen those.
I've seen every picture that was taken. I always check the full picture compilations that GDQ posts after every event because you got to relive the memories, you know? And you got to see, am I in this one? Am I in this one?
Yeah.
But, oh man, so good. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's just so unreal. Like I say, for that to be the first ever GDQ experience too, and to hear from you who's been to so many, it's like, yep, that's a favorite moment. It's like,
Oh yeah, easily.
how do you go back? It's like,
You
but
know,
it
I
made me
have.
want to go back 100 times over. Yeah, like I'm hooked to wanting to go back to GDQ events now.
Mhm. What's crazy, I forget where it was. It might have been like PAX when I went for a GDQ thing, so it makes more sense. But I remember, I think it definitely was PAX or TwitchCon. It was something where speedrunning wasn't the focus. It might have been part of it because GDQ is in those big events somewhere, but it's not the focus, right? Like TwitchCon, PAX. But I would see people wearing the uh, peanut butter baseball shirt that the Yeti made or whatever, just randomly. And I'm just like, wait, I don't know who this person is. This isn't like a speedrunning focused event, but there's the shirt. It's just someone's wearing it. Like that's how popular it was. You just,
Yeah.
I see it. Just, it's crazy. Wild
Yeah, I think
times.
on the elevator ride down, someone was wearing the peanut butter shirt. I was like,
Yeah.
oh. looking forward to that run, are you?" I was like, "Oh yes, can't wait." Like
Mm-hmm.
canceled plans or something to make sure I was gonna be there.
Oh yeah,
I was like, "Oh well," I said, "I'll see you there."
yeah. I'm glad
Then I saw them
JDQ has
afterwards,
like
like, "You
that
were
one
announcing?"
run. Yeah, JDQ's got like that one run now every event defining run. That the peanut butter run was definitely that one. Like this past one was the Crazy Taxi band performance. Like
That was an amazing idea. Yeah,
I'm so glad they're
so
getting all
fun.
of this stuff. Like oh man, just magic being in the room. And what's interesting since you brought it up earlier about me having JSR on, like this was like 2 years ago now because I've been doing this for so damn long. Good lord! But when I had JSR on, I don't think he had revealed like his ideas with peanut butter speedrunning yet. Like
Oh yeah, I guess.
I think he brought up the idea in our talk. Like I have this really cool idea, and now to see where it's gone, it's just wild. And I guess I haven't been able to talk to someone that's like been involved in that since that episode. So it's kind of cool how full circle it's all become, and we can see the outcome of the idea. And boy, did it go! It went off, didn't it?
No. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so, because it was the Pittsburgh GDQ before that he had done online with Gyromite. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it would have been after the
Yeah,
interview
the
too,
interview
then,
would have
right?
been like middle of
Yeah.
2023, and that was winter of last year, 2024. So yeah,
Yeah.
very very cool to see what's come of it. So I'm glad we can bring it back almost 2 years later on the
Yeah.
same show. But
Well, I mean, I'm gonna always talk about that story.
oh no, it's perfect. I'm glad we were able to really dive into it here because, I mean, hell, you brought up stuff that no one would ever know. That
Yeah, it's just like my own personal, like when I look back on it, it's funny because I can watch the YouTube video, but I also just get transported like to my seat
mm-hmm.
on the couch just to see peanut butter like right in front of me. It's so weird to see a different perspective of it and
Yeah.
then just to remember all the little things that happened that week and who you talked to and just like how good the staff were about everything too, because like we had the party poppers and
Yep.
we were like trying to clean up afterwards and they're like, no, go enjoy the moment, like we'll take care of it. Like, are you sure? Like we made a mess here. Everyone's just really good about everything at those events and super chill. So yeah, GDQ is a lot of fun. I
Oh yeah.
can't think of a single bad moment when I was there.
Yep. Good times all around for sure. And I'm just I know game submissions are closing in a couple days or maybe
Yeah.
tomorrow after this is upload or of right now, I don't know, but yeah. I'm excited to see what the big thing is this time and all the other things because it's not just the big parts of it. There's a lot of other stuff and it's all worth your time. So, we'll see.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure if I'm even gonna submit uh the golf grand slam run or anything, but I know
Well, you
I
have
know that
today and
wouldn't be the
tomorrow,
peak
so you
run
better
anyway.
hurry.
Yeah, I made sure that my information was right, so I'm still hemming and hawing on it. So I
Gotcha.
might, I might just to see. I'd love to have another reason to go back to Minnesota for sure. So
Well, the good thing about GDQ is you don't need to have a run in either. You can just go
yeah,
if you really want to. No, that's what I did the first 4 events.
oh, that rectangle pizza is enough to make me want to go back to Minnesota, let alone all the fun of the event. That
Well, there
that
you
place
go.
was amazing.
That's
I was
all that
like, there is
matters.
nothing like that in Edmonton right now. So
Mm,
that pizza haunts my dreams here.
mm-hmm. Right. Well, is there anything else about your speed running journey that we haven't gone over that you'd like to go over?
I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty much everything. There'll be another bot miss going on every December, so who knows where that's gonna lead. So there could be another fun out of my wheelhouse speed run coming up. But no, just thanks for having me on, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. It was good to good to just hang and chat about speedrunning in general. Yeah.
Those are the vibes we like to hear. So, well, you mentioned the botmas, but usually I ask if there's any near or far future plans in terms of speedrunning or content or whatever you may do.
Well, last year, because of the GDQ stuff, I hosted a home run derby for like 16 speedrunners. Just kind of had a tournament that was going on, and that goes back to our conversation earlier about I love to just do the commentary, do community related events, stuff like that a lot more now. So
Mhm.
I'm hoping to make that an annual event, and I'd love to come up with other ideas for just easily approachable games. Like I put out a quick 4-minute video that had shown like, hey, it's literally just press B button and hope for the best. Like you don't have to practice Ken Griffey Jr. baseball. It's just the home run derby. So a lot of people, you know, can just pick it up in 2 seconds. They're ready for the event and just have a good time. So I want to do that again in September. Other than that, maybe I could try convince the Punch Out crowd if there's enough runs to do like a day tournament. I've always had the idea of a knockout tournament
Mm.
for Punch Out, and now they have a ROM hack where everybody gets the same seed with the same
Oh,
RNG
has
per
that come
fight.
out now? I've been
Yep.
hearing about it. Oh, okay. That's I didn't know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the race ROM is out, so that would make it a lot more fun
Ooh.
for a style like that because then it's pure execution based.
Mm.
You're
Interesting.
moving on if you did it right. So, and we could probably bang that out in like 3-4 hours too. So, just trying to come up with more community based ideas. And yeah, I'm probably playing Elden Ring for like 2 more months. The game's too big, man. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun, but so yeah, September. Watch for the next Ken Griffey Jr. Home Run Derby, and we'll see if I can convince enough Punch Out runners to do a knockout tournament someday. So that's about it.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward, especially to the MTPO thing. I've been hearing about the race ROM. I didn't know it came out, so that means
Mhm.
things may be developing. I'm excited to see where that goes because again, it's
Yeah.
I think the tournament you won has been like the last tournament I can recall, so be nice to see another one.
Yeah, it was 2022 was the last one. That's
Oh,
when
okay, so
8-Bit
there's
won that one.
got it. Okay, I
So
forgot if there
yeah,
was one the year after or not. Okay, but
yeah.
yeah.
Thankfully, they did save the finale of that one. That one's fully
Oh, good.
recorded.
Thank God.
So
Thank goodness.
we can, everyone can head over to TKO tournament and watch all of the tournament's archives. So.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yes.
actually, holy crap, they're getting rid of all these videos.
Mm.
I don't know if anybody thought about TKO tournament.
Okay, well,
Now I
here's
got
your
to go
wake up
on the
call.
Discord here and
get,
take care of that. Yeah.
get them on
I
YouTube or
thought I was
something.
done saving videos, and look what you've done, GTA.
I'm sorry. Listen,
No, it's good. It's
you already
good.
lost one. You can't lose more. So
I know that's the thing. Yeah, I
gotta
can't
back them up.
recreate all of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, good save. Good save.
Yeah.
Well, plenty to look forward to. So there we go. I guess we'll call it there. I guess we're done, right? Everything you
Yeah.
want to talk about
This
was
was fun.
mentioned. If you're satisfied, I'm satisfied. So,
Oh, this was good. This was fun. Thanks for having me.
all right,
I appreciate
no
it.
problem. Well, the last thing I'll ask of you is to self-promote in whatever way you want to.
Uh, 99% of the time, it's just here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Gruntiatus, and I have been throwing videos of like past games, playthroughs, different stuff, just to try get some of that sweet, sweet advertiser money on YouTube. So if you want to find me on YouTube as well, I'll be there. But if I can come up with some video ideas, I might try. Now that I have a bunch of footage, but
Mm-hmm.
no, mostly Twitch, and yeah, that's about it. Hope to get some more good, fun community events going in the future here.
Well, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out. So And hopefully others will as well. Like to see what happens, and yeah, I guess we'll call it
Yeah.
a day. So yeah, thanks everyone
All
for
right.
watching. Uh, just stay tuned for future episodes as always. Haven't stopped yet. Against all odds, we're still here after 111 episodes. So we'll keep it going for the content. All right, take care, everyone.
Bye
Bye.
bye.